Hello there, everyone. How's it going? So this is kind of a new thing that I'm gonna be doing for the channel. So it is literally last minute thought, and I figure, you know what, might as well try it and see where it goes. So, for those of you who have been following me, which I know is not, obviously, not a lot of you, but for those of you who have been following me for a good while, I want to say within the past year or so. You guys know how I've been trying to start these my streams up by talking about entertainment news, anything related to like gaming or movies or music on occasion, especially recently. I usually try and start things off by talking about that, giving us a little bit of a nice little discussion before we get into the gaming. And I kind of want to try and see about just compiling all of the news discussions from that week into one video and then uploading them up as their own separate videos. So for example, the one that's up that was uploaded today, it is the news discussions from my Destiny 2 stream of the date that will be posted on the title, basically. This is unscripted in case you couldn't tell. So it'll be my news discussions from the date that'll be listed in the title and also the description. So in this case, it would be my Destiny 2 stream and my Mass Effect 3 stream, which during that week I talked about Concord and that getting shut down. And for Mass Effect, I talked about Linkin Park's return and the unfortunate controversy that's kind of been revolving around that. And this is kind of what I'm gonna try and do. It's being uploaded on a Wednesday for the first one because I wanted it to be a little bit more recent. But for the future, I'm gonna see about maybe having it be uploaded on Sundays. To try and be like a nice little like, okay, here's the recap of the week and then onward to the next week, basically, because obviously I don't stream on Sundays, and then once we start on Monday and then onward, we kind of just discuss whatever it might be. I should specify a lot of the news that I will be discussing is usually stuff that is like comes to my head in the moment. I don't really plan what news exactly I'm going to talk about unless it's like something that's like, okay, I got to talk about this now, because I know like news is being spread constantly, and a lot of other people are talking about it, and this doesn't mean I'll take requests. I'm probably not going to do requests for news stories. A lot of it's just going to be like, doesn't particularly interest me, and is it literally in my head the moment I am about to start streaming, basically. That's how a lot of my news discussions go anyway. So how it's gonna work, I'm gonna be taking the news discussions for every stream and then trying my best to edit them all together and like compile them all into one video and then upload them separately to see if maybe people would like that. Oh, pardon me. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. So sit back and enjoy, I suppose, for the start of this new little like news stream VOD clip series that I'm gonna be doing. We're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna see how it goes for the future. But I want the channel to be a little bit something more than just stream VODs. So this is kind of what this is meant to do. This is meant to sort of deviate from the stream VODs, even though at the end of the day it is parts taken from the stream VODs. So yeah, but also kind of interested to see where it goes. So yeah, let's enjoy for this first part. So ladies and gentlemen, we gotta hold a candle, we gotta say our prayers, because Concord will be officially dying in about a day or so, in about 1 to 2 days, depending on what time you're watching this. Or perhaps it may already be done if you're watching this past the 6th, because, ladies and gentlemen, the devs of Concord Firewalk Games, I believe they're called, have put out an announcement today stating that they will be shutting down Concord on the 6th of September. And on top of that, they will be refunding everybody who bought the game, which, based on what I've seen, I guess it's only, I think it only sold like 25,000 copies, which is not good, especially when I think that's across both PlayStation and Steam. And given that the Steam numbers, I don't think ever peaked above 1,000. That is very, very bad. And given that the game was $40, which is probably one of the reasons why it failed. Let's see here, 25,000 times 40. That is exactly $1 million down the drain. For Sony. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised that they're just shutting it down, and they're not like making it go free to play, which is usually the case. Usually, like what you see with a lot of stuff like this. But no, it looks like they are just gonna be straight up shutting it down. And obviously, you got some pretty fun and interesting characters coming out of the woodwork to try and blame Concord's failure on anything but the fact that it was a live service game that they were charging $40 for, and it was also a basic hero shooter that was already that was being released in a market that is oversaturated with live service hero shooter games. Because there's a lot of them. I mean, shit, you have fucking Deadlock, Valve's Deadlock, that is still in like a closed beta. You have to get invited by a player of the game or by Valve themselves in order to play Deadlock. But Deadlock already peaked at like 170,000, like already miles better, and I think that's coming out as a free-to-play game. Now, not to say they should have made it free-to-play to begin with. They probably should have, honestly. It doesn't seem like their, I don't know, maybe their microtransaction stuff wouldn't have worked with it being a free-to-play, which I don't see why that would be the case. But yeah, trying to smack a $40 price tag on it wasn't exactly the best call. Now, granted, you can make the argument, well, Overwatch did the same thing. Overwatch is almost a 10-year-old game. That came out, I want to say it was 2016. That was Overwatch, with the exception of like Battleborn, and there was another one that I think Hi-Rez did. I can't, the name's not coming to me. But like back then, yes, there were some hero shooters that were starting to come out of the woodwork, but Overwatch was the first successful one, and that game did release at $60, which is obviously, if you look back at it now, it probably, like, if Overwatch would be released today, it probably wouldn't be a $60 game, which I think them going the free-to-play model was probably their best option. But I kind of give Overwatch a pass because it was one of the first hero shooters, and on top of that, it was a hero shooter that wasn't even, that game wasn't even live service. Like, there wasn't really, I don't think there was a battle pass until Overwatch 2 came out. 2 in massive air quotes. So yeah, no, Overwatch kind of gets a pass for that. Obviously, I probably wouldn't pay $60 for it now. But yeah. We live in a society now where Suicide Squad, despite that game barely ever going over 200 players like at any given point in time, somehow Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is still alive and kicking to this very day, which is so mind-boggling to me. I don't know how the fuck WB is still continuing to keep that game afloat. It's wild. It's wild to me. And something that I just kind of found out. So I talked about a couple weeks ago, but the same people who did Love, Death, and Robots are doing another anthology series based on video games. It's called Secret Level. And I almost said each level. Every episode is gonna be like a different game. So they're doing God of War for one of them, modern God of War, I should specify. And apparently, they're gonna be doing an episode on Concord, which is hella fucking awkward because, from what I understand, Secret Level doesn't start until next month, I want to say. So, yeah, it's gonna be an awkward episode when that comes out. I actually wonder, because one of the selling points that they were marketing for Concord was the fact that, like, every week you were going to get, like, mini episodes to try and, like, flesh out characters and all that. I wonder if they're just going to straight up upload all those mini episodes to YouTube on, like, an official YouTube channel. Like, I'm genuinely curious if they're gonna do that, or if that shit's just gonna be swept away in the ether. But yeah, no. Concord, you can no longer buy it on Steam or on PlayStation. The PlayStation store is... The store page for both of them are completely nuked. They still exist, you just can't buy them. So yeah. RIP Concord. I don't think anyone really saw you lasting long. Sure as hell didn't think you were gonna last only 2 weeks and then shut down after. But hey, you know what? At least I can give Sony this. They saw the writing on the wall as quickly as other studios have. Like, Skull and Bones is still kicking. I don't know how, but it is, along with Suicide Squad, so Sony has a good way of knowing if their game's gonna fail. And which, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, Sony wanted to do 12 live service games all the way through 2024 into 2025. They knocked that number down to 6. Concord was somehow one of them. Concord was one of the live service games that they wanted to release. And now I'm wondering if they're going to rethink their strategy, because Concord has now failed. And the next game on the docket, I believe, is Bungie's very own Marathon. And based on reports I've been seeing, development process of the game isn't going too well. So, Marathon may unfortunately be another sinking ship before it's even set sail. Which, for the sake of Bungie, I kind of hope it doesn't, because Bungie's kind of just been getting so much bullshit because execs don't know how to treat developers properly. So I'm hoping that they can make something out of Marathon. But the issue with the Marathon that I'm seeing, and it was one of the same issues that Concord had, is that they're releasing a game in these very particular genres that have already more or less passed their hype. So, like, Concord was already too little too late. It was, you know, it was a development for 8 years, and 8 years ago was around the time when hero shooters were mega popular. And Concord just released in a very shitty spot and in a very oversaturated market of a lot of live servicey hero shooters. Marathon, instead of Bungie just making it a full-blown remake of their original franchise, they're making it an extraction shooter, which is another big, you know, like, it's another, okay, granted, I don't think we see extraction shooters as much as we see hero shooters, but extraction shooters are still a relatively oversaturated market, because you got the Division, you got the Division 2, granted, that's more or less a side area. You have stuff like Dungeonborn and Dark and Darker, which, granted, those games have the benefit of being relatively unique to the genre by them being based on, like, medieval fantasy combat. And then you have, obviously, Escape from Tarkov, you have DMZ from Call of Duty, and I want to say that's basically it. So, yeah, I think the same situation might happen with Marathon. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a hidden success out of Marathon. Who the fuck knows at this point? I don't even know if the game has a release date yet. But I do believe that is going to be free to play. At least I hope it is. Because I don't see that game lasting long if they tried to slap another $40 price tag. Which is unfortunate. But, yeah. Rip to Concord, but not really. Yeah, you released a relatively bland hero shooter, and you land of relatively bland hero shooters in an oversaturated market and slapped $40 onto it. That's why you failed. It is not because of some of the other dumb bullshit I'm seeing on Twitter. I've already said my piece on that earlier today, and you know, people are idiots and will look for any excuse to blame the thing they hate more over the actual thing that killed the game. But that's enough of me ranting. Oh my fucking god. I got something in my eyeball. Linkin Park is back, and I'm about to make it everyone's fucking problem. So, yeah, Linkin Park's back. For the past week or so, they've been, they were doing this big countdown teaser thing, on, like, Twitter and YouTube and all that. And it all culminated yesterday with the return show, with a return concert, which, from what I understand, because people were saying that, oh, the crowd looks a little bit small for a return show, which, to be fair, from what I understand, that concert was given only to members of Linkin Park Underground, or LPU for short. So they did this whole, like, secret event thing and didn't basically, well, secret in massive air quotes. They did a big live stream yesterday on Linkin Park YouTube channel. You can go check it out. Right now, it's the VOD for it is still up. I don't know if they're going to take it down. I don't expect them to. But there they announced, well, firstly, it was a 1 hour concert. They showed off, they debuted a new single called The Emptiness Machine, which also features their new singer, Emily Armstrong of the band Dead Sarah, which I think she sings fine. I don't really have an issue with it. Her, like, fry screaming doesn't necessarily work for some of the songs. But for songs like Paper Cut, One Step Closer, and all that, and Faint, I think her fry screaming is perfectly fine. Although I do want to hear more of her clean vocals, especially after they did a slow jam version of Lost, which was really, really touching. But I think she sounds fine. People are saying that, like, her voice cracked a couple times. Oh, she can't do it. It's like, firstly, voice cracks happen all the time. Even Chester had slip ups. Like, nobody's perfect. And also, this is the first new singer that Linkin Park has had basically ever. And no, I don't count Mark Wakefield leaving and Chester joining after him. I don't really count that because they weren't really established at that point. So yeah, like, this is their first new singer ever. So not only does Emily have some massive ass shoes to fill, but she's also fucking nervous, and you could hear that. Like, their first concert in 7 years. Like, yeah, everybody's nervous. And obviously, you know, their drummer, Rob Borden, isn't coming back. He wants to distance himself from the band and focus on his personal life, which I get it. I completely understand. And obviously, I would imagine doing drums for 10 plus years would be kind of tiring. But unfortunately, a lot of good things aren't meant to last, because literally not long after that re-debut concert. Well, firstly, before I get into the big nitty gritty of it, they did announce that they are going on tour, which is starting on the 11th. It's a very mini tour. It's only 6 shows, but I think Mike said that they do plan on touring more next year. Because one, you know, you got to promote the new album, which is coming out. That they're doing a new album coming out November 15th called From Zero. And obviously the Emptiness Machine, the new single that just dropped yesterday. Really great song. I like it, especially with what I'm about to get into. And re-listening to the song with with the new context that's kind of just been taking over the internet right now. Again, I think it's good. Is there anything else? I don't think there is. So, not long after the re-debut concert for Linkin Park, people were very quick to find out that Emily Armstrong was, this is very important because we don't know yet, because there hasn't been an official statement since all this shit is coming up. People were quick to find out that Emily was a known Scientologist, and that she had also defended Danny Masterson, who, if you don't know who he is, 70s show he basically had a huge trial a couple of years ago with a lot of assault allegations. I don't know how touchy I can be on Twitch regarding a lot of this, so I'm kind of trying to choose my words carefully here. And Danny Masterson, also Scientologist, and people were going, well, it's kind of tone deaf, right, of Linkin Park to recruit Emily, especially given one of the reasons why, of like what happened with Chester. But here's my main takeaway from all of this. Because again, first and foremost, we do not know yet if she still holds these beliefs. We don't know if she still, you know, thinks of it, because apparently they were close friends. Danny and Emily apparently were really close friends. And so we don't know yet if she still considers Danny a friend, or after he was found guilty, her along with a couple other celebrities that were defending him during that trial. So I know this, like, I don't usually get heavy with this kind of stuff here, but I do kind of want to bring my voice into this. The big thing is we don't know. And Mike and the other members of Linkin Park also aren't dumbasses. I would like to believe that they did their research. They did the research when they signed Emily on, And I don't think they would have if she still truly harbored those beliefs. And on top of that, given that the trial was a couple of years ago, and as someone who kind of recently actually had to deal with, you know, coping with the fact that a friend of yours isn't that good of a person, and then looking back on the stuff you did 2 years ago, it is entirely possible and very likely to look back on shit you did 2 years ago and be like, oh, I kind of done fucked up, and I'm not happy with that. So that's my main takeaway. And on top of that, you know, there's the speculation going around that Emily's parents were both Scientologists, so that way, thusly, she was born into it. Which means, you know, it's no secret that Scientology is actually it is actually a cult. Like, it is literally a fucking cult. And the thing with cults is that they don't want you to leave. No matter what. They will do every fucked up trick in the book to make sure that you stay. And especially if you're born into that, that only makes it that much harder to leave because of that fact. And people are speculating now, because if you read the lyrics to The Emptiness Machine, it does very much sound like a person who is trying to renounce their past. So, yeah. Anything that she probably said and did under that umbrella, it could be entirely possible that she was either coerced, blackmailed, and or threatened into doing and or saying those things. But obviously, as I stated, and the big thing again with all this is that we still don't 100% know all of the true details, especially for now. Like, do I think Linkin Park should put out a statement? Absolutely. I feel like it'd be best to try and clear this up sooner rather than later. But you also have the other side of the fence that people are looking at and going, well, if they do say something and Emily, you know, renounces all of that shit, you also have the potential of them putting a major ass target on their backs. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with whether or not they should or shouldn't put out a statement. So yeah. Again, risk of sounding like a broken record. We don't know if she still harbors those beliefs. And obviously, I doubt Linkin Park would have or would not have vetted her. And I don't think they would have signed her if she still truly held those beliefs. And even during the build up to this big thing yesterday, when it was speculated that they were going to reveal their new singer, I told my brother this. Whoever their new singer is, I am almost 100% confident that this new singer was chosen with the approval of every individual member of the band. No in-betweens, no ifs, ands, or buts, 100% confidence and approval. So that's my big piece on that, and that's really the big thing I got going today. For in terms of like the large news that's kind of been going in. So yeah, sorry to get a little bit heavy on there. I'll try to talk a little bit about other stuff, but I also recognize it's hard to bring up Linkin Park coming back, especially right now with all of the stuff that's coming out. So yeah. For as much as I would like to dodge it, I can't exactly do that. So, yeah.